Hi, this is Heather Timmons, and I have a friend here today. This is Maple. Maple, can you say hi? Say hi to the kids at ACF. And this is Maple's mom, Kelly. Yeah. Kelly, can you tell us a little bit about Maple?
Maple is an Australian Shepherd, and she is 10 weeks old, so she's really little.
She's so cute, and she's so soft. I wish you could pet her through the camera. We're going to read the Sunday school lesson for you guys, but first we wanted to show you Maple and just kind of play with her a little bit. All right. Do we want to try the lesson with her here? Kelly, you don't have to stay here the whole time. You can if you want to. Do you mind if we just have Maple here and see how she does?
Okay. Sounds great.
If she gets crazy, you've got this, Maple. All right, Marie. All right. What are you going to read to us about today?
About Jesus calming a storm.
Okay.
You ready?
Very good. I think we are ready.
All right.
If Maple has to go see her mom. Uh-oh.
I can probably just stand.
Okay.
Oh, she's snuggled. Okay, story time. Jesus spent all day teaching crowds of people near the Sea of Galilee. That evening, Jesus wanted to cross over to the other side of the sea.
Okay, so Jesus taught all day, and then he was crossing over. Why do you think he was crossing over?
Probably tired, wanted some alone time.
I would believe that.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and read it.
So Jesus and his disciples left the crowds. They got into a boat and began sailing. But some of the people from the crowds followed in their own boats.
Okay, so Jesus wants some alone time, but they're coming. Uh-oh. Okay, Maple's going to go see Maple's mama. There we go. So that makes me think about, as a mom, when you need some alone time or you just need to go to the bathroom and there's little knocks on the door. That's what I feel like that would have been like. So Jesus got in the boat. He's trying to get away, but people are coming after him. Why do you think they were coming after him?
They wanted to hear him speak.
Maybe.
Meet with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had something that they were drawn to and they weren't ready to let go.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. From my spot. While Jesus and his disciples traveled, Jesus fell asleep on a cushion at the back of the boat. All of a sudden, a storm came. The wind was strong and the waves crashed into the boat. Water was coming into the boat and the disciples were afraid.
Okay. That would be scary.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
Water just pouring into your boat.
Yeah. Water pouring in and the winds and the waves. And what's Jesus doing?
He's sleeping.
Yeah, so. He's sleeping.
Yeah.
Okay.
Many of the disciples were fishermen. They had survived storms on the sea before, but this storm was different. It was so strong. If the water kept coming in the boat would sink. Surely they would all drown.
Okay. So they're used to storms, but this one is obviously a bigger storm. This is something more significant than they're used to dealing with. And it got to the point where they were fearful. They were feeling scared.
Yeah.
Okay.
The disciples looked to Jesus for help, but Jesus was still fast asleep at the back of the boat.
Okay, so this storm is raging, a storm big enough to make the disciples who regularly fished feel fearful, feel afraid.
Yeah.
And Jesus is still sleeping in the midst of it.
Yeah.
What does that tell us about the character of Jesus, that he would have been sleeping in the midst of that?
Well, he didn't
fear
the storm.
He wasn't afraid.
Exhausted, probably.
And tired, right? Yeah, he was tired. But when I hear you talk about that, what I think about is that something deep inside of him was at peace.
Yeah.
Right? So even though he was exhausted, he was able to just not be stressed about the storm that everyone else was worried about.
Yeah. All right.
Did I make you lose your place?
You did.
Okay.
He didn't seem to even notice the storm. Did Jesus care that they were about to sink into the sea? The disciples woke up Jesus. "Lord, save us," they said. "We are going to die."
So when you said, can I look at this really quickly? You read, and it says that Jesus didn't even seem to notice the storm. And they asked, did Jesus care about them? And that makes me think about the story of Mary and Martha, where Mary sat at the feet of Jesus and Martha was getting everything ready.
Cleaning.
Yes, and she basically was like, "Lord, there's things that need to be done. Don't you care?" Which causes me to think that Jesus has different priorities, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously he had it all under control.
He knew. Yeah.
He knew that they were going to be fine. Okay, go for it.
Jesus opened his eyes and saw that his friends were afraid.
Yeah.
He got up and spoke to the wind. Then Jesus
Yeah.
said to the sea, "Silence, be still." At the sound of Jesus' voice, the wind stopped blowing and the waves stopped crashing. Everything was calm. The disciples were safe. Jesus-
Can I pause? Can I
Yeah.
stop you right there? You're used to me interrupting you. So when Jesus realized that the disciples were afraid, what was his response to them?
I have to look back. Oh, do you have no faith? Like, you have little faith. And
Yeah, but he also, he calmed the storm, right?
yeah.
He addressed the fear that they had. Like, it was a real fear, but then he also spoke to their heart motivation.
Yeah.
So he helped them to be safe and to be secure. So sometimes, I don't know if you remember when you were little, and you'd have a bad dream, right? And you might come and talk to me or talk to Dad, and we would try to talk to you about what was real, right?
Yeah.
Which is you were safe, you were in your bed, you
Yeah.
could go to sleep,
Yeah.
and then tuck you back in. And then, of course, we would be like, you're fine, you're in your house, you're
Yeah.
fine. So that's what that makes me think of when you share about Jesus. He made them safe, but then also addressed their heart. So some of you sometimes may have times when you're afraid, and you maybe have a parent who says, oh, you're fine, you're okay, right? Recently, Marie and I went on a hike up Pilot Rock, and Marie was afraid, and I told Marie, what did I tell you?
It would be fine.
I told Marie it would be fine, and then what happened?
You got. You were clinging to the rock.
And then, so I told Marie it would be fine, and you were climbing up. Did you believe me?
Oh yeah.
You must have, because you climbed up. And then I started climbing up, and I had a moment where I thought I was going to start crying, and I didn't think I was going to be fine, right? It was scary.
Yes.
And what did Dad do?
He helped you through it all.
Yeah, he came down behind me and guided me through it, right? Was it scary?
Well, yes.
I was still scared, but I did it, right? It gave me a goal in mind. And so Jesus guided the disciples, right? He helped to navigate them through the storm,
Okay.
but also addressed their heart, right?
Yeah.
Don't you know my character, right?
Yeah.
Dad had hiked that rock before. Was he going to take us someplace where he literally was going to put our lives
No.
on the line? No. He believed we could do it, right? And he met us where we were at, and he talked us through doing it. And I see that in Jesus with the disciples. He met them where they're at, and he talked them through it, right? All right.
Okay.
Thank you for letting me interrupt you so much.
It's all good. Jesus looked at his disciples and asked, "Why are you afraid? Do you still have no faith?" Did the disciples not trust Jesus to take care of them? The disciples were amazed. "Who is this man?" they asked each other. "Even the wind and the waves obey him."
Right. So the Christ connection, and we talked about this earlier, and I think it's pretty profound. So Jesus' disciples, they knew that he was a good man, right? And they knew that he was a good teacher. But when he calmed the wind and the waves, they saw something more, right? Who commands the winds and the waves?
Well, God does.
God does.
And as you said earlier in creation, when he spoke,
Right.
things just happened.
Right. So the only one who has that power is God, right? Whether it's speaking creation into being or telling the wind and the waves, knock it off. It's enough, right?
Yeah.
That's God. So there's a verse here that I want to read, but before I do that, can you tell us where in the Bible this story is found?
Matthew 8 and Mark 4 and Luke 8.
Okay,
Mark
so
4.
3 of the disciples wrote about this.
Yeah.
Oftentimes when we read the Gospels, we will find little differences. We'll find a story that maybe one of them shares and the other one doesn't. But I think this is pretty impactful in
Pretty
that,
profound story.
right? All 3 of them, right? All 3 of them were like, this is so significant that it was something that they felt worth sharing.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the verse here?
Our verse
I looked it up on my
is
phone.
Psalm 89.
I should have had my Bible here. Here we go. Psalm 89.
9.
9. Okay. And this is talking about God. And it says, "You rule the raging of the sea. When its waves rise, you still them." So that's speaking about God. And the disciples, especially those who were Jewish, would have
Yeah.
known the Old Testament, right? And so when they saw Jesus still the wind and the waves, they would have remembered God does that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I forgot to introduce Marie. Most of you probably know her, but my daughter Marie's with me today.
Hi.
So that is your Sunday school lesson. I hope that you think about God and his sovereignty. And what's his sovereignty? What's that mean? I just put you on the spot with a big word, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in control over everything. He rules over
That's
everything.
what it means.
Sorry, I should have prepped you with that. It means God is in control over everything. So whatever we face, whatever trials or struggles, whatever difficulty, it might be learning to tie your shoe. I remember kids in our house crying because that was a hard thing. I remember struggling to learn to tie my shoes. It might be the loss of a pet or a family member. It could be something big or small, but God's in control of all of those.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Marie,
Welcome.
for joining me for this today. It was fun.
It was fun.
All right. Have a good day. Bye.